yeah, nigga. Shit. That nigga said, yeah, nigga, yeah, nigga. Yeah, nigga, yeah, nigga. Shit. Yeah, nigga. Lit right there. Alright, man. Yeah, nigga, yeah, nigga. That shit a fool. This nigga weird than a bitch on this shit, motherfucker, man. Yeah, nigga, yeah, nigga. I'm finna do a Project Pet Flow. Look at Shouter. Snapping. Off the rip, off the rap, off the. Man, what's going on for real? I'm trying to see. Ain't no audio? Hey. You can't hear shit.
Be careful, okay? Okay.
Ain't this a bitch?
I will. That kills business for the rest of the day.
Surely is a bitch.
Always hassling me. Undercover cops? Yeah. Listen.
Niggas all in the live, man, talking damn.
Legal problems, give me a call. Anytime, no charge. Thanks.
What do we do with all the cash? Yup. It's really going down. Yup. It's really going down. Oh, so it worked like that. Okay, big.
This is your captain speaking.
When the kids in the kid, man, double like it's on. I know what to do now. You got a shirt. Ain't get no audio. What's up, C? You in the live, huh? I might as well do something. Then. Can you hear me?
If anyone objects to this marriage, speak
Oh, okay. So you can hear me and everything. Okay, big. So we can do it now. I was actually running a little test to see how we was gonna be able to do it. So we're gonna have to do it from like one of the groups. Yup. And I'm gonna just have to add you. Have to invite you. Yeah, so we got the method now, man. Man, I might well do something real quick while I'm sitting here bullshitting. Fuck this shit. Let me go and run one. While I'm live, I can use this shit. But appreciate you for stopping on up in this thing. It was just a little test, but I'm gonna go on and run something while I'm on this mode. It's something I want to touch on anyway. And that way it give me a chance to put it on here and I can have it recorded already. Bam, straight from the live, straight from the path. Yeah, path for the light. Yeah, in that bitch. Yeah, let's do this shit. Alright, so I ran across some shit the other day. There was M. Night Shyamalan got a movie called the fuck is that movie called? Signs. So it was this farmhouse. Let me find it.
People are taking financial advice from memes.
It was a farmhouse in 1994 that they ended up coming in contact with some like what they was thinking was paranormal type shit. Come to find out, it was some Skinwalkers. But let me run it. Let me find it so I can run it by the live. So it's a movie called Signs. And in the movie, I think Dennis Quaid, or Mel Gibson, and one of them niggas in it. It ended up being like one of them big ass movies. Let me find it. Then a nigga challenged me today too. Like, I'm trying to see, like, is the nigga gonna really try to do something? Nigga got in the comments talking about the out of Africa theory or some old bullshit. Man, don't nobody believe that shit, man. You gotta have all the way proof, dog. Let me find this shit. You got all the proof, nigga. So basically, the U.S. government started getting involved in some more shit. The shit was so controversial, it ended up turning into a fucking movie. Nigga named M. Night Shyamalan. He the director of the shit. And it's called Signs. The bitch came out like 2000 something. And what they thought it was some aliens. Here it go right here. But it wasn't aliens though. Wasn't no motherfucking aliens. Their ass was on the wrong territory. They was on the wrong territory. Just like what we were saying about them Yeti and all them. Here we go.
So you think Cliff really bought it, huh? 100%. You should see his face. Amanda, trust me. You got this one.
Come on, infographics.
Oh. And that is not all.
So,
I'm doing a stall. Telling Cliff what I'm doing, what I want.
in a couple seconds.
All I'm thinking about is I gotta stretch this out until we get there. But then
Live tripping. Here we go.
CRE transactions have worked for over 100 years.
And it's called The Story of Skinwalker Ranch, but it's a real damn documented thing.
Faster and more exhilarating, with twice the speed.
Now with this too, I think the whole screen share
There
thing.
are thousands of cash prizes. And the grand prize,
I don't know, I'm about to figure out the screen share part, but I'm gonna fuck with that in a minute.
in 1994, Terry Sherman purchased a piece of land in eastern Utah to raise cattle on. By the very next year, the Sherman family would be haunted by an alien presence, witness mutilations, and be stalked by a creature from Navajo legends. This area would later become known as Skinwalker Ranch.
So boom. So this Skinwalker Ranch place, first, like I say, they thought it was aliens. Come to find out, it was skinwalkers. It was shamans who could transform, who could morph, who could turn into like leopard men. Look at this bullshit. There they go with that shit. Hating ass Facebook, dog ass biatch. Let me lick my shit back up. Really, fuck that shit. So it was basically these motherfucking shamans, man, who was transforming on these niggas, turning into basically into fucking werewolves and shit on them niggas, killing them motherfuckers. But the story get real crazy, cause it might have been a place where the motherfuckers was basically I got this on sergeant shit. Basically, could have been a place where they was running them fucking experiments too. Them motherfucking them damn science, them government experiments and shit.
Paranormal places on Earth. The Shermans lived relatively peacefully for their first year on the ranch, but that was all about to change. Terry Sherman, his wife Gwen Sherman, and their child would all have their first brush with an extraterrestrial presence in 1995. And it started off relatively harmless, with UFOs being spotted in the skies. But the encounters would soon turn into something much more sinister. The UFO sightings were just the beginning of what would become a bloody series of deaths and mutilations at Skinwalker Ranch. The most common UFO sightings by the family were small box-shaped vehicles that glowed white, an approximately 40-foot-long vehicle that hovered in the sky, and a mothership that was reported to be the size of several football fields. One particularly unnerving experience happened when Gwen Sherman was driving home late one night. She spotted lights in the sky in her rearview mirror. Gwen continued on, glancing back every now and then to figure out what was following.
Let me see if I can find it on here and share the video. Screen share the shit through the YouTube. Kevo dropping that sauce, man. For them primaries, man. For them primaries, man. Get that money, man. I'm trying to go and run that bitch up. This little rip. I need to. Hey, last year I made $60,000, man, in the goddamn coronavirus. This year I got the least. You know what I'm saying? I got to do 80 to 100,000 this year, for real. So this is the most paranormal place on earth. This damn place. There that bitch go.
She takes a picture, and in that picture is this ET. He puts the camera over in that direction, and everyone looking in that direction at that moment saw it. You can make contact with these civilizations, and you do not need the government. And that's when they take me into a hotel room.
In 1994, Terry Sherman purchased a piece of land in eastern Utah to raise cattle on. By the very next year, the Sherman family would be haunted by an alien presence, witness mutilations, and be stalked by a creature from Navajo legends. This area would later become known as Skinwalker Ranch. It is now considered one of the most paranormal places on Earth. The Shermans lived relatively peacefully for their first year on the ranch, but that was all about to change. Terry Sherman, his wife Gwen Sherman, and their child would all have their first brush with an extraterrestrial presence in 1995. And it started off relatively harmless, with UFOs being spotted in the skies. But the encounters would soon turn into something much more sinister. The UFO sightings were just the beginning of what would become a bloody series of deaths and mutilations at Skinwalker Ranch. The most common UFO sightings by the family were small box-shaped vehicles that glowed white, an approximately 40-foot-long vehicle that hovered in the sky, and a mothership that was reported to be the size of several football fields. One particularly unnerving experience happened when Gwen Sherman was driving home late one night. She spotted lights in the sky in her rearview mirror. Gwen continued on, glancing back every now and then to figure out what was following her. Then the lights began to pick up speed. Gwen pushed the accelerator to the floor, trying to outrun the UFO that was chasing her. She whipped the car down the driveway toward her house when she stopped and looked in the sky behind her, and the lights were gone. As time went on, the paranormal experiences...
Okay, so this looked like to me, like this basically a real high motherfucking what is it called? A high energy place. It's a high energy place right here. I'm gonna look it up and see exactly where they was at. The Skinwalker ranch place. That's probably like a nickname for that hoe. You know what I'm saying? So motherfucking Navajo goddamn skinwalkers, aliens, supposedly, which we know who the fuck, you know what I'm saying, in them UFOs. You know what I'm saying? It's the government in them UFOs. You know what I'm saying? It's them higher beings, man. As far as people don't believe, we learning about these different humanoids, but it's humanoids, man. That's what people won't understand. Been on this bitch for a good cool little rip, man, and they've been continuously keeping the knowledge after time after time after time, changing their motherfucking names. They may be known under another name right now, but they still got the knowledge of all the ancient times that they done, you know what I'm saying, did they thing. And shit, we know who in these UFOs, but yeah.
Came out of the sky and landed much closer to home. While working on the ranch, the family found 3 locations where grass had been flattened into circles without any explanation as to why. Each instance was about 8 feet in diameter, and if the 3 circles were observed from above, they seemed to be laid out in a triangle. The family also found several holes that seemed to have appeared overnight. Each was 3 feet wide and a couple of feet deep. The Shermans didn't have an explanation for the strange circles they were encountering and had no idea what they meant. That was until the mutilations started occurring. As the paranormal experiences became more and more common, the Sherman family started to become worried. They tried recording and photographing the phenomena, but had little success. Then things began to get much more creepy. One April night in 1995, Terry Sherman left his house to check on a cow that was
This
days
for
away
entertainment
from giving birth.
purposes.
As he approached the field, he noticed some strange glowing lights near where the pregnant cow was located. At the time, he thought the lights might have been from his neighbor's kids riding their four-wheelers around, or an RV that had been parked in the field, but he couldn't have been more wrong. The lights began to rise 50 feet into the air. Terry ran toward the field, trying to get a better look at what the lights were. He reached the spot where the UFO had been moments before. It was there that Terry Sherman found the first mutilated cow on his ranch. The cow had a hole bored into the center of its left eye, but other than that, it seemed the dead cow was untouched. Upon further inspection, Terry found no blood seeping from the wound in the eye, or anywhere else on the cow's body for that matter. It was a
Surgical precision. Surgical motherfucking precision. And I bet you that you can link these events with these surgical ass removals of blood and organs from animals to the same shit with these motherfuckers who getting found in these different places with their motherfucking organs gone, stuffed with fucking paper towel and newspaper and Charmin and shit. Yeah, I bet this shit all linked.
as if whatever killed the cow had sucked out its insides from the hole in its eyeball. Terry searched the surrounding area for footprints and signs of a predator, but could find nothing. He believed whatever he had seen in the sky might have had something to do with the puncture wound and death of the cow. And this would not be the last instance of the Sherman cattle being targeted by something paranormal. Not long after this first mutilation, another cow was found with a hole in its left eye. However, whatever this cow had encountered had taken things a step further. Upon inspection, Terry Sherman found that there was also a 6-inch hole carved around the cow's rectum. This is when he noticed another connection between the two mutilated cows. They both had a chemical smell surrounding them, as if they'd been experimented on in a lab. As the year progressed, more cows disappeared, some without a trace. It was winter, and the Shermans were doing their rounds and couldn't locate one of their cows. There was snow on the field, so Terry followed hoof prints of the missing cow. The prints stopped at the edge of one of the fields near some trees, but the strange thing was there was no sign of what happened to the cow. It seemed as if the animal had been lifted right off the ground where the tracks stopped. Then Terry Sherman stood over the last set of prints and tilted his head back to look up. Above him there seemed to be a circular hole of broken branches leading through the tree canopy and into the sky above. It was as if something in the sky had blasted its way through the top of the tree to get to the cow below. The mysterious force had then picked the cow up off the ground and carried it away. At this point, the Shermans were really scared. If whatever was taking their cows decided to turn their attention on them, there would be nothing they could do to stop it. And the scariest part was, the worst was yet to come. A final dead cow was found by the Sherman's child. It laid in the snow not too far from where the other cow had seemed to be lifted off the ground. When the child got his father and they examined the body, a 6-inch wide, 18-inch deep hole was found in the backside of the animal. There was no blood or innards in the snow surrounding the corpse, just a circular hole that had been bored straight into the cow's rectum. When Terry took a moment to examine the area around him, he noticed the same chemical smell as with the previous cow mutilations. He looked up into the trees and saw that the branches had been severed and twigs. I thought you said they were serious about growing on Instagram.
Now I know everybody needs their money.
Instagram growth course that you could get by clicking this link right here, right now.
Come on now.
Twigs had fallen around the dead cow in a circular pattern. Authorities were brought to examine the mutilations, which were eventually chalked up to death by predatory animals. But the lack of blood and the strange holes bored into the cows did not seem to fit the profile of an animal attack. Many believe there was some type of extraterrestrial presence on the Sherman Ranch, but there may have been something else, something much worse. One final paranormal experience occurred in the Sherman family, and this time, it scared them so badly they ended up selling their land. In fact, it was this experience that would eventually give the farm its
educational
current name,
purposes only.
Skinwalker Ranch. It was late at night, and Terry Sherman was checking on his livestock. He had brought his dogs with him, most likely because going anywhere on the ranch late at night was a little nerve-wracking. Suddenly, the dogs began to growl and yip. Terry pointed his flashlight in the direction the canines were looking. In the tree line, he could make out the shape of a creature. It looked like a wolf, but it was much too large. Terry estimated the creature to be 3 times the size of a normal wolf, with eyes that glowed blood red. Terry lifted the rifle he was carrying and shot.
Boom. So the real history behind the whole werewolf myth, people gonna find out, what's the real deal. You know what I'm saying? We know what a real werewolf is. You know what I'm saying? We know there's something that's formed, that transform, moves through form, goes from one form to another. It ain't nothing you're going to be born just a hairy-ass motherfucker and then be like, oh, I'm a werewolf. Nah, this some mystical shit. It's some mystical shit that's going on. Yeah, and it's connected to shamanism. Yeah, shamans. Your native teacher. You dig all that? But yeah.
3 rounds to the animal. It was unfazed. The wolf-like creature glared at Terry and then disappeared into the tree line. The dogs barked wildly, but they did not pursue. It's believed that the creature wasn't an alien, a science experiment gone wrong, or a mutant wolf, but something from ancient Native American lore. The creature that Terry Sherman saw that night on his ranch might have been a skinwalker. A skinwalker is a shape-shifting entity that comes from the legends of the Navajo people. It is interesting to note that although Skinwalker Ranch sits on land that once belonged to the Ute people, the Navajo Nation is nearby. In their legends, skinwalkers can shapeshift. They're also depicted as werewolf-like creatures, but can transform into anything they wish.
Boom. Also depicted as werewolf-like creatures. Well, we're going to get into the history of this place, Tamari, the real Egypt. You know what I'm saying? Turtle Island. That place there. And what you're going to understand and find out is that motherfuckers was fearing us because they was coming over here and niggas was shape-shifting and turning into werewolves and wolf men and motherfucking leopard men and shit. Motherfucker half man, half leopard. Motherfucker couldn't tell the difference what was really going on. They was getting their ass whooped, getting their ass handed to them and things of that nature. That's why they was like, oh, they savages, they demons. Nah, you just came over here at the wrong time, motherfucker, and you didn't understand that it was a certain thing called an ass whooping that you could get that we serve up over here. We do that type of shit. So, yeah.
There are commonalities between skinwalker sightings today and the Navajo legends of old. Although the skinwalker can shapeshift, the creature tends to be slightly deformed when it manifests itself. The skinwalker is also said to have red or orange eyes that pierce through the darkness. Both of these characteristics are reminiscent of the creature Terry Sherman saw the night he was out with his dogs. The Navajo skinwalkers don't necessarily need to be part wolf, but it's a common theme. The idea of a skinwalker itself is actually derived from the Navajo term Yi-nad-lushi. This translates to, by means of it, it goes on all fours. Some Navajo believe that skinwalkers are the evil children of a corrupted medicine man who abused the magic of his people. Others believe that people who have committed terrible crimes or taboos against the members of their tribe are turned into skinwalkers as punishment. There's no hard evidence to support the claims made by the Sherman family.
Nah, ain't no punishment, it's privilege. Ain't no punishment, it's privilege. You dig that? Ain't no punishment, it's privilege. It come with it. It come with it. If I'm supposed to be the healer for the people, then guess what? If you have to look at the contrast, which everything is dual, then you have to see that if I'm the healer, I'm the protector too. So I can serve you something that can heal you, man, help you, all that good shit, cure your ailments, all that shit. Or I can serve you up some real fly shit, the mysteries of that other side, you know. Some of the mysteries of the dark, you know, side, that other side. Or you can be cool with that light side, you can be cool with that light side of me. Man, I can serve you up something real fly. Hey, you feeling good? Yeah, which one you want? But nah, it ain't no, it's a privilege.
Than the reports on the mutilation of their livestock. But many believe there was a lot more going on at the Skinwalker Ranch than meets the eye. In fact, once the ranch was sold, more and more people came forward with accounts of paranormal experiences they had on or near the ranch. When researchers looked further into the paranormal activity in the area, they found it could be traced all the way back to the first European explorers in the region. It's claimed that in 1776, a Franciscan missionary named Sylvester Velez de Escalante spotted. What if I told you you're working too hard and
what if I told you was doing this shit at the wrong time? What if I told you that?
My name's
the fuck off my
Fireballs in
phone.
the night sky when camped near Skinwalker Ranch. And native peoples have passed down oral histories of skinwalkers and paranormal entities going back to times long before Europeans ever arrived on the continent. It would seem there are a couple of different ideas on what has actually been witnessed at Skinwalker Ranch. Many in the area claim to have seen UFOs, but others claim there are creatures that don't seem to be extraterrestrial, but something much scarier and perhaps human-made. Eventually, the Shermans sold the ranch to Robert Bigelowit, who made his fortune in the real estate and hotel business. He was always interested in the paranormal, so he started the National Institute for Discovery Science. Basically, this was a privately funded research organization that conducted investigations on paranormal events, fringe science, and UFO sightings. Now that Bigelowit owned Skinwalker Ranch, he could send his investigators there to research the paranormal activity that was claimed to be occurring in the area. In March of 1997, one of the researchers working for the National Institute for Discovery Science spotted a large, deformed, human-looking creature in the trees on the ranch. This creature seemed to be watching the researchers. It had piercing yellow eyes that never blinked. And when one of the researchers shot at the creature with his rifle, it didn't seem to harm the thing, but it did scare it away. Upon investigating the area around the tree that the creature was spotted in, the team found a strange-looking footprint. They described the track as being a single large print in the snow with two sharp claws protruding from the rear. Their conclusion was that the prints almost looked like a bird of prey, maybe a raptor print, but huge, and from the depth of the print, from a very heavy creature. Paranormal investigations are still ongoing at Skinwalker Ranch and try to make sense of all the experiences people have had in the area over the years. There is no definitive evidence that the land there was visited by aliens, skinwalkers, or any other creatures, but investigators are still trying to prove that Skinwalker Ranch is one of the most paranormal places on Earth. Now watch Catholic Church, Most Terrifying Ghost Stories, or watch wartime paranormal sightings that shocked soldiers.
Yeah. So, the whole movie Signs, that's the background behind it. That's the background story. And you know, like I always say, that fact gonna come out stranger than that fiction. That shit for real. That shit for real. That one little movie, it wasn't even that much in that movie. It was basically, you know what I'm saying, they felt like the shit that we just seen, it was way more information. In the movie, they actually was just dealing with like aliens and shit, and then it was like just part of the movie and shit like that. The end of the movie, they finally encountered the motherfuckers. Through the movie, it was like some mysterious ass shit going on. They could never figure out what the fuck was really going on till at the end of it, boom, then they see, oh shit, it's aliens and shit, crop circles, you know, all that old shit. But like I say, we know it's advanced beings, and we know they kick it with the government, so it is what it is. Every time you see him, every time you hear about him, every time it's anything to do with anything, it's gonna always be the government telling the most stories about him. Yeah, because they fuck with him. You know what I'm saying? You got to think about that. But at the end of the day, the Skinwalkers from Navajo legend, it ended up being incorporated into the actual story. The actual fictional, the real story from 1994. The movie didn't come out till like the late 2000s. And it was watered down. Because if they would have put all this shit in that motherfucker, people would have been like, God damn. So, yeah, man. Through my little test run, I ended up doing a little small little baby little lecture kind of like thing. And I'm gonna share this too. And yeah, I'm finna get off this motherfucker. Yeah, what's up, C? I appreciate you for checking this shit out and zooming and vibing with me on this motherfucker. 30 minutes.